Hi guys, I woke up this morning and it is definitely chilly outside, so fall is here, and it got me to thinking about my winter escape. So I am headed to the U.S. Virgin Islands, and I know quite a few of you guys are heading to the U.S. Virgin Islands either by cruise or you're just going to fly in for the holidays. So I put together a list of 5 things that you should know if you're headed to the U.S. Virgin Islands. So let's do it. So the number 5 thing I want to speak about is that the U.S. Virgin Islands is just that. It's part of the United States. It is a territory. And when we speak about the U.S. Virgin Islands, we're speaking about the 3 main islands. There are other smaller surrounding islands, but we're speaking about St. Thomas, the capital, St. Croix, the larger island, and St. John, which is the smaller of the U.S. Virgin Islands. So because it is a U.S. territory, you do not need a passport to go to the U.S. Virgin Islands, which is great. The number 4 thing I'd like to speak about is communication. So I often get this question from clients. They want to be able to communicate, to arrange things while they are on island. The wonderful thing is that because the U.S. Virgin Islands is part of the United States, there are 2 cellular companies that work. So AT&T is on the island, and you can use your cell service from AT&T. I actually have AT&T, and I have never had an issue with my billing for calls that when I was in the Virgin Islands. The other cell phone is Sprint. So Sprint actually works on island. I've had issue in the past with the connectivity, but it does work. If you're coming in by cruise ship, each port typically has free Wi-Fi from the Virgin Islands Department of Tourism. So that's great. So then that way you can use different apps to connect, like WhatsApp or Messenger. So it really saves money. It cuts down on you having to make those long distance calls. Okay, so the number 3 thing I want to speak about is if you are going there and you intend to drive, you have to know that we drive on the left in the Virgin Islands. So that may be easy for some people, but it can be quite difficult for others, especially if they're planning on driving in St. Thomas or on St. John. And the reason why I say that is because the roads are very narrow and there are high elevations. So it's very serious if you're trying to drive. It's difficult if you're trying to take in scenic viewing and making sure that you're very conscious of staying on the left-hand side. So the number 2 thing you need to know if you're going to the U.S. Virgin Islands for vacation is the island of St. John does not have an airport. I know that many of you who cruise have been to St. Thomas numerous times. So I want to encourage you to try a different island this time, especially if you have 6 or more hours. Getting to St. John is relatively easy. And so for you guys whose final destination is St. John, then you're going to have to fly into St. Thomas, and you're going to take a ferry. And there's 2 ferry ports. One is in the island of St. Thomas, and the other is in Red Hook or the East End Ferry. That the drinking age in St. Thomas is 18. So some of you out there are jumping up and down. I'm very excited about that. But I do have to caution that oftentimes, and we see this on the island, is that our young people at 18, they tend to overdo it. Our local rum is very good, but it can be very intoxicating. So those parents out there, I'm just advising that you have a conversation with your young people.